Greetings, viewers. Von Fry here with yet another Netflix commentary track. This time we're watching from 1995, GoldenEye. This is one of the very best 007 movies, and if you disagree, please check yourself. I have a world record in my review that you can find on this channel, but this is going to be a commentary track for you to queue up and watch alongside your viewing of GoldenEye on Netflix. To do so, go to 0000 and hit play now. Oh, the trusty lion. Yes, there we go. Metro Golden Mayor. What? That's not the latest version of that logo, which I appreciate because the current render of that, they get all swoopy. You have to zoom out from the line. It looks horrible. United Artists. I don't think that was the logo they were using at the time because it mentions .com over there. And that would have been 95. I don't know. I think there's some CG there on the iris, the gun barrel. Nice look. Traditional Bond start. This is quite an explosive Bond actioneer too. This one has to bridge some gap because there was not a Bond movie for 6 years. The last one being License to Kill, that was like 89. It didn't fare well. In fact, into the early 90s, we still had Dalton appearing as Bond, like officially. And I think there was an arcade game or a Sega Genesis game that showed him as James Bond. And we're getting our introduction to Pierce Brosnan here. We don't see his face. We're on a dam, and this is an actual stunt. There were many stunts from this movie that would get hyped up, and it actually worked out pretty good back then. You were able to show people a good stunt and be like, hey, you go to the movie because of the stunt, but you could also use the stunts to market the film. You'd see a lot of behind-the-scenes featurette type stuff showing this bungee jump. It may have been a world record at the time. Actual guy doing an actual stunt. I realize it's not Pierce Brosnan. I'm totally okay with that. I don't need it to be. We are going to go in a little closer here in the next shot, and then probably also stunt double. Oh, he's behind the rock, and oh yeah, see, he kind of looks like he's sliding down the dam. I always kind of felt that way. Oh, is this really the best way to access this chemical weapons facility? GoldenEye 007 on N64, still a legendary game, considered one of the greatest of all time. You play it now, you're going to find it quite antiquated, but when you play the game, it's amazing how good of a job they did in recreating the scenarios and the sets of this movie to the point that you end up watching the movie again and being like, oh yeah, so there was there in a way. A lot of details you don't really pick up on seeing the film. And here we go. Anything upside down? Yep. Forgot to knock, and there is that knock. Pierce Brosnan was going to be James Bond a ways back. Had some difficulties with contract. He was playing Remington Steele on TV. Couldn't get out of that, and so we got Dalton, who I thought did okay. Pierce Brosnan, this is his best James Bond movie. He is, in just the microcosm that is GoldenEye, one of the very best James Bonds. I would say that he has one bad movie, obviously, but most James Bonds did have a bad movie. So if you're judging the body of work, I mean, this guy, head and shoulders over Daniel Craig. I don't care what you say. I mean, Pierce Brosnan, he's got the look, he's the right build, he's not too muscular, he's suave, but looks like he can do some damage. And here's Sean Bean. Of course, he's going to be a bad guy. Sean Bean at this point was probably best known for Patriot Games 1992, where he's an IRA operative button heads with Harrison Ford. Oh yeah, see, I'm kind of looking at the set and just thinking of the game. And the game I haven't played in honestly decades, and it is stuck with me so much because when you had an N64, that was the game you played, at least until Ocarina of Time came out. And hell, that won't fix your multiplayer buzz. Oh, there's everything. You're going about this the way. The game also managed to string along a list of objectives in a spy fashion that was very different. Most games would show you. This isn't supposed to be a game review, guys, but we got a little bit of downtime here before the chaos ensues. I love the music in this film. The kind of it's modernized, but it doesn't feel old still. If in 1995, it's tough for me to call old. I look at Mortal Kombat, Die Hard with a Vengeance, just a litany of films and things I was doing back then. You know, watching Michael Jordan play basketball, collecting football cards. It was, I mean, hell, you were looking to want to play somebody's PlayStation. It didn't seem like that was old to me, really. Hell, most of the characters' names I know because of the game more than the movie. This guy, General Orloff, he died a few years back. I saw him in a movie, Chinese Boxes. I think he might be German. Oh, I would like to invite you guys to crack open a cold one. I'm going to enjoy a Coca-Cola Classic. Not sponsored, but boy, wouldn't it be something? I get enough views on these that it would probably be a smart move for, like, it's usually Mountain Dew's my drug of choice. So I mean, if they just sent me like a case of like Dew Throwback for my commentaries. Now you kind of wondering, or how did he get in this situation so quickly? Like everybody perfectly pictured here. Always had a little trouble with that. The guns in the movie are used in the game too. I could kind of see GoldenEye getting an update. Particularly the tank level could be more fun, more like the film. All right, how do you fake? I'm giving away so much, but you're supposed to have seen this movie by now, especially if you're listening to the commentary track. I don't know how he could have set up faking that if James is watching so much in a kind of PG-13 way. I mean, he didn't get his head blown off, right? Kind of a funny moment. You'll get a crack out of the audience here with the kind of creaky walking slowly. I think we're going to see a little bit of sweat drip down from a guy's brow, and he fires, and boom, taken out. There we go. I'll tell you, it's hard for me to see that as PG-13. Guns killing people. In fact, that would have been edited different if done today. We would have not saw the gun firing and the guy dropping in the same shot. This movie's directed by Martin Campbell. He would return to the James Bond franchise to direct what many people think is the best James Bond, though I thought it was good. Casino Royale, 2006, right? The first Daniel Craig Bond. Maybe he's the guy to get when someone's a new Bond. There was some haphazard aiming there, but I'll forgive. Again, being 1995, you're going to see a lot less CGI and a lot more models. And the model work in this, I think we have some matte painting there too. It's pretty good. I think you would have been fine with it in the day. It may not stick out as much as some of the model work in, say, Aliens, 1986, but it certainly does stick out to some degree. If it was CGI, maybe it would have also... CGI, they would have gone for more dramatic camera angles, and it probably would have looked worse. We're going to get a composite shot here for Bond trying to re-enter the plane as we try to make that look like Pierce Brosnan, but they're like, let him go. He's a goner. Let's see how this plays out. If I had a knock for Tomorrow Never Dies, it's that the opening is a little too similar with the. Do we need the plane nosediving scenario again for the pre-credits opening action? Yeah, there we go. You know what? I kind of buy that. That looks pretty good. I could see that looking worse today. Maybe that shot looks a little more Raiders of the Lost Ark, but I think we're going down a model cliffside here. And some shots, obviously not here, but this also has an excellent model explosion. Would look worse today with CGI. We'd have a lot of guys catching fire and all those. We'd have people in the shot, for one. Look, this is beautiful, though. I can't knock this intro sequence. This is... Okay, that gun, the gun texture, that alone... Okay, that's a bit of a problem. The rest of this... Okay, not the best computer fire... But all the silhouette stuff, it's more of a CGI type opening montage credit sequence that hadn't really been done before in James Bond. Now this is the norm. So this is a trendsetter. GoldenEye. Not a bad song either. Tina Turner, right? We got a lot of the returning crew, but the introduction of Judi Dench as M. Oh boy, I will tell you in HD, I think you're seeing a little more of those silhouette girls than bargained for. I think these are models, these statues. There's a lot of things that appear here that will then come up in the film, and it's not done in a haphazard way that I kind of feel like we saw too much of with recent Bond films. And we got the double-headed because there's a Yanis in the film. So, okay, we got a lot of Cold War. This is James Bond exiting the Cold War for the first time. I said Tina Turner, and I'm now having to look at the credits to make sure I was right with that, or I'm going to have to apologize. A golden honey trap. I thought it was golden hearted trap, but yeah, honey trap I can kind of understand. And we're going to get out the sledgehammers. Tina Turner, written by Bono and The Edge. Bono and The Edge also on that 1995 Batman Forever soundtrack. Saw that in theaters. Didn't see GoldenEye in theaters. I'm not really sure why. We just kind of didn't get around to it. Oh yes, now it's time to get the car going. We've got the DB5 out and about. I kind of was okay with Casino Royale. I didn't feel like it was rebooting the franchise. I thought it just simply took place before previous James Bonds, and I felt okay with that. And then we get into a scenario where it's like Dame Judi Dench is, we come to find, is not necessarily playing the same character, but she is. It's a weird disconnect. There was going-ons in the film, rewriting Bond's past and in the franchise. That is, it really didn't sit well with me with it retroactively making other movies a reboot. But I know that at that time, reboots started to get popular. We had Batman Begins, Casino Royale, and now everybody wants to reboot. Don't recall the name of the actress riding is it shotgun in England even? But there's Famke Janssen in a 355 F1. I believe it's an F1. I think she's got the paddles. It's very rare to find those with, actually, maybe if that was 94, 95, maybe that you couldn't get that with the F1 transmission. I'm not sure. The music here is a little spiked. It's sort of like someone just kind of drunkenly ran their hand across the keyboard. Oh yeah, she's not necessarily in the same spin as that car, but okay. This is a fun little scene. It's a non-violent chase. Just having a little fun. Showing off the size of your engine. This is a movie people choose to forget about when they want to say that Pierce Brosnan was a bad James Bond. No other way around that. This movie looks so much newer than previous James Bonds. It's so slick and Hollywood. What are her plates? I think we get into some details. Oh, yeah, no, she has a manual transmission in that. So it's not an F1. The Ferrari 355, beautiful car, possibly the best sounding engine note of all time. Affordable, except for requires a $40,000 engine out maintenance. Yeah, that'll cost you. Oh, all you had to say was please. I always thought she looked like an old lady, like she looked older than Pierce Brosnan. He actually had an older wife who appeared in one of Dalton's. I think it was one of Dalton's. No. It was A View to a Kill. I think A View to a Kill was supposed to be a James Bond film for Pierce Brosnan, but he couldn't get out of Remington Steele. They just had, okay, fine, we'll give us Roger Moore, one more for Roger Moore, and everybody always seems to go on one too long. Is that going to be the case with Daniel Craig as we come up on No Time to Die? I mean, I guess it's No Time to Die, or what other Bond titles can we come up with? Death Comes Quicker. It's a good day to not die hard this time, maybe. Sees the Ferrari. I think that plate in the front might be different than it was. At least it was a big yellow one in the back. We have Bond doing the action up front, and now we're going to put him in a tux. And he looks pretty good. For some weird reason, they get his hair wrong throughout these Pierce Brosnan films. It's like a little poofy, a little afro-ish. He certainly puts on some weight. Pierce Brosnan goes into James Bond in this film the lightest James Bond. You can see how thin he is. Is 6'2", quite thin. Actually, not far from that frame right now as we speak. But by the end of his stint, he is the heaviest Bond. So he goes from being the lightest Bond to the heaviest. He runs the gamut. Famke Janssen, oddly, this is not a movie that turned her into a star by any means. I think a lot of people are still unaware of her. In 94, it might have been 93 or 94, she had a small role guesting on Star Trek TNG, looking mighty hot for a gal who's 5'11". And she looks great here, too. I thought Xenia made for a really cool character. Kind of the first female Bond heavy outside, well, Domino slightly, and also in the case It is it. Is it also Domino in the unofficial Bond, Never Say Never Again? I think so. She was good, but really the first Bond-heavy female that could give James a run for his money. Curses in Russian. Gotta love putting on them subtitles. It's like your accent. What is it, Georgian something? And doesn't he say? But where's she from? She's a European. I think more people are aware of Famke from the X-Men films. Plays Jean Grey. Sounds very American throughout those, actually. And she's also Taken's wife. Bond, James Bond. Every Bond must say that on a top. Oh, really? Need to look up on a top, see if that's an actual last name. Probably not. We know we had some fun with the last name there rather than the first name. She says Xenia. We always say Xena Warrior. Maybe it's is it Xena for Warrior Princess, maybe? Ooh, there's something up with this gal. You got a bad plate. I'm going to run your plates. That's how Bond starts this whole thing, is by running plates. Oh, this admiral here is about to have the time of his life. You can see they're not getting along. This is an odd part here. We actually have a good minute of mime work. And people are in this amphitheater, sitting on the rock, watching the mimes. All right, now this is a pretty good move with the... well, I guess the lead there would be the puppet in front, and then you just have the puppeteer kind of behind. But everybody gives a nice respectful clap. Yeah, we need some armed military guys overseeing the mime. Oh, this is supposed to be fancy stuff right here. He's got like a digital zoom that stays in focus, people. We can't seem to do that today. He can also print out remotely. It's a digital camera, far better than any digital camera available in 95. I kid you not. Because I had the best digital camera in 1999 and it looked like shite. But yeah, this prints out wirelessly. Wirelessly, am I going to say it like that? To his car, which has a printer. It's supposed to be blowing your minds. They're printing stuff, people. That's what the future looked like. We're going to be printing everywhere. In color, no less. The printers have become this thing that we reluctantly purchase because we think we might need to print paper. You notice that? Released by the Yanis Foundation. M authorizes you, but no stipulations. Contact without prior approval. Of course, Moneypenny is going to be telling James about the stuff he can't do, and he will do anyway. This is a tame love scene. I want to be careful what I say around the YouTube censors here. It's tame yet ferocious. She likes to do the biting. She'll end up biting James's lip. The clawing. Ugh, would you guys volunteer for that? I think you probably would. Now we have the silhouette crushing. There was certainly a time where the Bond villains had a gimmick of what they would do. This is the way I like to kill people. I have this kind of hand. I have teeth implants. Who stole the ID? Could it have been Trevelyan? Sean Bean, for lack of a better word. It's Alec Trevelyan, right? We don't really suspect anything from him. We were, at the time, we thought, okay, he got killed at the start. This little episode here will go down quite different than in the game, where you're just sort of board this frigate in the middle of nowhere because, rendering more polygons in 64 is a bit of a pain. Draw distance and all. And that's where the helicopter comes into play, but here it's obviously mighty close to the shore. Now, it's been a little bit since I've seen this, but I'm going to try to look for something involving the pilots. I think that as the pilots go, is a co-pilot possibly Sean Bean or his character while Zinya's flying? I think he's going to come across the Admiral. Tidied up. Let me check the closet. Smile on his face. Looks a little bit like Paul Giamatti. The expression. Is that the thumbnail I should use in this video? That might not be the most popular. Oh, that ship really sticks out. What is with military ships always being gray? Everybody else's boat, any color but gray. Usually white. Oh, yeah, got a little present for you. Starts to unzip and shoot. Oh, no, wait, there's no unzip. It's just kind of doing my finger down. And boom, there goes the gun. We don't get a look at that guy. Yeah, it may very well have been Trevelyan. And what makes for a good disguise, too? You got a lot of body covered up by the flight suit, and you got the mask on over the helmet. Yeah. Who is this guy? Come on, everybody rush him. Don't believe him. Draw a gun. That appears to be an Apache helicopter with Tiger written on the side. I could be mistaken because I don't fly helicopters, but I had an uncle who flew helicopters for the Army. I don't think he flew that. He probably flew like a Black Hawk. Never got into combat. He was in the Army at a time when it was pretty peaceful goings. Worked his way up to lieutenant colonel and retired. Now he gives like he's sort of like on some kind of weird touring lecture circuit for the military programs. It's almost like any random military guy that shows up in a James Bond film to explain the bad situation. This seems like a weird disconnect at first. You have this look in outside of James Bond's view. We're outside of the scenario with the known villains, and we're looking at computer geeks. This area is actually quite well recreated in GoldenEye. And it's confusing for anybody back then. I don't think the internet ever worked the way depicted here in this film, but it was at a time where the internet was young enough to most of us who maybe connected possibly for email or something at work, and that would be the extent of it. It's like they have this weird messaging system. Everybody has these giant avatars. There's tracking that shows like an animated screen of where things are coming from. We'll see that. You take them with you. What is it? Puzzle I solved back in the day beforehand. Chair. Speaking of X-Men, we have another X-Men right here. Boris goes on to play Nightcrawler. Why does he have a taped on his glasses? You couldn't get that fixed. Oh, we have to make him look geeky, but he has the Harry Potter round glasses. How did he create that avatar too? Like that would have taken some serious effort with computers back then. You sit on it, but you can't take it with you. Chair. Okay, let's go. Isabella Scorupco. Probably saying that wrong. Really damn fine in this movie. Yeah. Two of the hottest. Yeah, look at this animated screen. Yeah, that's how the internet works. Two of the hottest Bond babes. One of the best James Bonds. I'm invincible. That'll come back to bite him. Kind of. Well, sort of. Natalia. She's such a sympathetic Bond girl character. She doesn't have to play sexy at all. They never like, oh, hey, use your looks to get this. Nothing. She doesn't say, let a woman do this because I'm tough. She's fair game to mix it up. She's ingenuitive, sympathetic as all hell. You could see the anguish that she's put through here, burying her coworkers. Just really runs the gamut. One of the best James Bond characters of all. And I think we had a miniature landing on that chopper. Ormov. But did it really look like it was him? They probably had a pit stop and changed around. I mean, come on, she's got a different uniform on as she exits the helicopter. So I'm thinking that's the case. Oh, hey, I don't remember seeing a nice little break room like that in the N64 game. I'm the general. He wasn't a general at the start of the movie, so you get the impression that some time's gone by. He's got a promotion for blowing up his own facility. Probably would have got his ass chewed out hard. Used to love watching those television sets fall down and the anarchy. Game had a pretty unforgiving difficulty to it. There are ways to speedrun it. I realized something that when you activated invincibility and you had explosions go off with C4, it would only blow up the rooms that you were in when you're in them. It's almost like this weird circumstance, Schrodinger's cat. Like if you can't see it, it doesn't happen. So you could actually speedrun the game by looking down at the ground, and that would prevent many of the enemies from being able to shoot you because you couldn't see them shoot you. Awkward key, but everything has to be proprietary here. We don't want to just give you guys a little SD card. In this case, it'd probably be a floppy. I don't think we had any SDs thing. Oh man, these guys are serious. They're probably going to shoot us too. Yep. I like how she gets off to the gunfire. It just adds wrinkles to her character. When you have downtime between bonds, you have an opportunity to think it through. Look at all the blood. That's not PG-13, guys. Shame. We've had the weird thing with Daniel Craig's Bond is they do put a lot of time between the Bond films. Or they have. It's been a pretty good gap for some of these. We're looking at 5 years between Spectre and No Time to Die. Maybe they'll think it through. I don't see how Mr. Robot can provide much resistance to James Bond. The formula. It's such a foregone conclusion. What's going to be happening to the bad guys? A lot of it's a bit tiring. That is not CGI. That is model work. Oh no, we got an armed satellite. I think Trevelyan's whole scheme, it was like you could hit London with the satellite, knock out all the electricity, cripple London financial center. All right, now look, we think she's going to go hide up. Oh, I like the shots of the guys scrambling. It's so simple. You don't need somebody saying, "Hey, let's get some jets in the air." No, just give us the siren, show us the pilots running out there. She must have decided at the last second, I can't climb up there. It's a little too high. Fakes the death sound, throws off Xenia. I had to ventilate someone. We got the puns. You see a little bit of a composite outline. And we're off. Now these jets will turn into miniatures. And there's MI6. I think this was a brand new building for them. Or maybe even before they got this building. This headquarters, I could be mistaken about that. This is a new Moneypenny. We've had a few Moneypennies by now. There was, I think, one who was only had a stint in one movie, maybe two under Dalton. Might have been younger than this gal, Samantha Bond, right? Is that how she got the last? Got the gig with her last name. This Moneypenny gives a kind of I'm out of your reach, James Bond kind of vibe. And we're about to see Dame Judi Dench, who was born 65 years old. Oh, you think I'm kidding, don't you? Oh, yes, we got a big O screen. Look at all them CRTs. This guy, he might have been in Tomorrow Never Dies. I'm not certain about it. I think there's a guy, Robbie. I forgot the damn actor's name. He appeared in stuff, and he's in a couple of James Bonds. And when Pierce Brosnan's asked, "Hey, you want a black James Bond?" Yeah, get that guy. Yep, she still looks old like this. Yep. Would not hit. Judi Dench was born to be a boss lady, wasn't she? Unlike the American government, we prefer not to get our news from CNN. Well, Donald Trump gets it from Fox. What are these guys' plans? Circle the area? Hey, what if something is going on? All they can do is hit it with rockets. You gonna hit your own dish with rockets? She jumps and slides under this staircase that is in the game. We got the electromagnetic pulse, right? And if memory serves, it's really not that big of a deal, except for we have the planes crashing into the building. And there goes the TVs. Is a TV that functional, as small as TVs were back then, held high up in the air like they're lights? Natalia probably would have been totally okay to get up at this point, except for the planes. And here we go. Yeah, miniature crashing. I'm kind of cool with it. That last crash with the explosion, most of that looks fine. Well, it's almost a horror movie. Yeah, it's understandable that she's screaming, but she's not Kate Capshaw in Temple of Doom. It's not like it's her only thing. It's not quite a burial, but I found a blanket. The rest of you didn't know you that well. Sorry, but I'm going to try to get out of here now. Fyodornova. Fedorova. What am I going to do? I guess the only way out is up. I would wonder how smoky would that be. Hey, look, it's kind of ladder structured. Yeah, you can climb. Cool. Not going to be the first time that we have satellite action in this film. Man, look at what she's been put through. Like, this is a major sequence in the movie, is building up this struggle. And then kind of spot her. We got a satellite moved in. We're going to use the Americans footage, and oh look, there's a survivor. That's who we need to talk to. It could be tough pinpointing who that is. .30-mile radius with the EMP. I think it was 96. Broken Arrow also uses that EMP angle. This might be the film-going public's first experience with the EMP philosophy. Actually, you know what? Independence Day, I think, did the same sort of stuff the next year, 96. The helicopter is designed to withstand this kind of blast. It's no accident. Codes, access codes, of course. All right, so you survive being inside. Next, the cold will get you. But we even update on that. We're still sticking with her journey, showing that she comes across the dogs who evidently have an owner, maybe offers her some Campbell's Chunky Soup. Actually, Chunky may not have been a label back then. Yeah, where's the owner of the dog? So what are we saying that she has the capability to mush dogs? Because that's really the last we see of that scenario. Governments change, lies. Da, da, da. Well, you're going to have to pump her for information. Isn't that the phrase we use? Or is that tomorrow never dies? Your predecessor kept it. I'm not my predecessor. Yeah. I'll tell you. Armoff. He's general now. Being the next Iron Man of Russia could be difficult. Do you think that maybe Putin was somewhat inspired by this movie? M does not care much for Bond. You're an old, antiquated weapon. All this misogynist talk, all this things that would be very vibing with today's crowd, or rather the keyboard warriors of Twitter. And the problem whenever you do things to try to pander to that minority, realistically, with the words of Twitter, it's a minority. There's too many people doing real things in the world to be bothered to post on Twitter. You try to play to the whims of those groups, those are not your ticket buyers. They don't go out of their way to buy comic books that appeal to them. It doesn't work like that. You play to your base, you keep things strong, you aim for quality. You keep the base happy, and they will spread the word. Come back alive. As in, I don't hate you enough to say I hope you die. We're going to be introduced here to Joe Don Baker, who was a villain just 2 Bond films ago from this one. He was the top villain, really, an arms dealer. Well, okay, I guess his scene's coming up. And then he'll be in 2 Bond films back to back without getting murdered, which is a rare occurrence. As a CIA kind of cohort, he's the closest thing to a Felix for Pierce Brosnan. Chechki Cairo Syrup. He's kind of like the boss here. Isn't he? Is he a chancellor or something, or a defense secretary? You may not recognize him so much with the beard, but 95, good year for him also. Bad Boys. Honestly, yeah, he does look quite a bit different. Hair slicked back and beard. A Frenchman playing a Russian. Can we not get real Russians to be Russians in this movie? Defense minister, yeah. I used to play as him quite a bit in GoldenEye because everybody wanted to be Bond or Odd Job. We had rules. Most people did. No one was allowed to be Odd Job. Though in the game's description of the characters, the dossiers, it did say that it was either Mayday or Zinnia were skinny and able to, like, they had a smaller hitbox, but no one ever took that into consideration. Oh, you just got told off. We're working on a new BMW here. This is 1995, and we have a BMW Z3. These do not come out until the 96 model. I don't think they were available at the time this movie was out. Maybe they weren't even available until 96. The Z3 largely lives on now, known as the Z4. I think with much of BMW's nomenclature, they decided that the odd numbers will indicate two doors, and even numbers two, odd three, or odd four. Jesus, yeah, 4-door cars are are what, 3, 5, 7. But then they want to call things coupe and put 4 doors on them and call them like a Grand Coupe, and it doesn't make a lick of sense. Current BMW Z4 shares its bones with the Toyota Supra, both made in Austria. We're going to have a phone booth gag. Here we got it quite precariously in focus, so of course we have something going there. I don't know if that invention would help a whole hell of a lot. Maybe if the phone booth was falling off a cliff. X-ray document scanner, eh? The pin thing was always confusing. I think that if you look up mistakes on IMDb, it's hard to say if this ever exploded. Oh, did he hit it too many times or not enough, or what is it? It might actually be helpful if the light came on or a ticking sound. Neat, neat. Desmond here will have 2 more films as Q. Here we're going to launch a guy in the back. I do like the gag with the sandwich, though. Oh, don't touch that. That's my lunch. Usually it's don't touch that. It's here's why it's explosive, whatever. We're going to equip James Bond with a BMW Z3 because we've switched over to the BMW being the official car for a few movies. It was the car for GoldenEye, Tomorrow Never Dies, The World Is Not Enough, and then with Die Another Day, we're back to Aston Martin, as we currently are. I like the gag here where we have the spies IDing each other, but not with the right passcodes. He's thinking, oh, this is not good enough. I'm going to need some better confirmation on this asset. Asset indeed. Dun 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 dun. All right, London April free and we're in the same we're freezing our butts off. Is that government enough where you work? We know about your tattoo. Show it to me. We're going to have some more recasting, sort of dipping through the Bond repertoire theater here with the cast as he's going to meet a Russian kind of mafia guy who would then appear to help him later on. Or no, wait, no, I think he plays the same role. What was it, Hagwood? Oh God, I forgot the guy's name. Yeah, I think he actually this appears as the same character 2 films later. You know, the guy that hangs out with Harry Potter and lives in the woodshed. Though I think he goes from having a beard in this movie to clean shaven in the next. One way or the other, I think. Also, an early appearance for Minnie Driver. We'll be seeing her wearing a cowboy hat and singing poorly. She would blow up 2 years later in Good Will Hunting. Movie I have not seen pretty much since it came out and everybody liked it. Does it hold up? Do I need to take another look? Yeah, this guy Valentine. That's who he's going to be seeing. He had a bit at odds with him, gave him the limp, but he'll end up helping Bond later. This is what a cyber cafe looks like in '95, guys. Uptight. I don't see a whole lot of World of Warcraft being played here. She's going to give him some specs that are going to seem antiquated by today's standards. .500 meg hard drive, CD-ROM, 14.4 modems. 500 megabyte hard drive. And man, it with specs like that, it could have been just so hard to get any work done in graphics, motion, video. It's no wonder you had outfits like Silicon Graphics making like $60,000 workstations. Now, if you want a piece of movie memorabilia, get something that was screen used, right? You don't get something that is just, oh, that was the commemorative cup that they gave out at Subway to tie in with the movie release. No. It's getting harder to find screen used stuff. And how do you find screen used things for Pixar? You go get those old Silicon Graphics workstations. Those were the computers made to make the movies. So that's the closest thing you can get, right? Shot him a leg, took his girl. Oh yeah, this is gonna go well. Oh, what a tiny little car. These guys must be legit. They've got Mercedes. Man, Natalia is doing her work. She didn't just go asking for help. She's trying to find out what happened to Boris. She's possibly doing a better job investigating this than MI6. And yes, we need to be concerned about that. That mole on her face, I think they added that. I don't think she actually has that. What do we got going on over here? Oh, the door's shut. Kind of horror-like, huh? Kind of stigmata-esque Omen type thing, huh? I don't know if we really needed that kind of shot, but whatever. Uh-oh, she's gonna talk. We need to shut her up. Is this a strip club? Or some kind of weird country fetish thing? Weird country lounge act burlesque show. Oh, I recognize the sound of that gun. Stand by your man. It says tunelessly. This is Minnie Driver before American audience knew who she was, and she really blew up with Good Will Hunting and then didn't do a whole lot after that. I can't name any hits for her. Bounced around various series, various movies. Had a very recognizable name, Minnie Driver. And so I think to this day, if you mention that, people know, oh, that's the actress, Good Will Hunting. Does she count as a Bond girl? Strangling a cat. Oh, you're talking about the singing. Oh, now we have a problem. Boom. And here we have the not quite flipping the bird that we get in a PG-13 type movie. I think now we get a bird flip and an F-bomb in films. At the time of this, I don't think you could plant the F-bomb without getting that R rating. I just watched Ford versus Ferrari. I think there's an F-bomb. Might have heard a C-bomb. It's rated R. No, it's rated PG-13. Yeah, it's PG-13, yeah. Now we got multiple Dimitris in this film. Hard to keep them straight. Oh, we're going for the kneecaps. Nope. There's a talk here of a hearse with casket bombs. All this. Nothing comes of this. He's trying to set up some kind of way for this guy to make some money, exchange some information. Quid pro quo. There is no quid pro quo. None at all. It's absolutely ridiculous. The most ridiculous. They're traitors. That's why you need to help me. Here we get in some World War II stuff. Has a bit to do with Bond's backstory, kind of like this. Well, Bond, you're not really English. Your folks were on the other side of the war or some other stuff, and you should relate to me. We learned that Yanis is the pseudonym for Trevelyan operating. Must have cut some kind of deal prior to that whole opening operation to fake his death with Ormov, and they both get power out of it. About to have a rendezvous with Onatop. Impromptu. Oh, but she looks pretty good here with the hair up. And she's walking in the robe. Wood smash. He really have that whole pull to himself. Come on, I've gone to any number of Holiday Inn Expresses, and I never had the pull to myself. Pierce Brosnan still has a good head of hair on him. Gray, sometimes sporting some kind of beard, but he works it. Famke Janssen, honestly, she didn't look very hot as Jean Grey. This is at the height of her powers. It's a little bit of a shame we didn't get more out of her at that time. I'll put the gun down for now. She's not too suspicious. Wait a minute, that lip bite. Playing a little dirty, huh? Now she's kicking me. Okay, we have a problem now. Look how skinny he is. That is a guy who doesn't drink Coca-Cola. Got a bit of back hair on you, Pierce. I see it. This is a Bond with chest hair. After this, it's chest hairless Bond. And it may be that way going forward, for that matter. She's got him in the signature move. You think you can break me? He's gonna burn her tushy. She actually had a henchman come in. I mean, you don't know that. Maybe the guy heard some yelling, thought he'd get in for the three-way. I don't know. No more foreplay. That line confused me for many a years. Now she like reluctantly takes him to the meeting and then gets conked on the head. I'm going to keep a gun on you and you're going to get dressed and then you're going to drive me. Violence against women off screen. Look at the way how we jump in tight on Bond with the judo chop. And then we see the reaction, the effect from it. We don't see it happening, just the aftermath. These statues, similar to what we saw in the opening credit sequence, ties together. Now, I wonder if you go see the next James Bond film, if they will make that much of an effort to tie things in. I've seen in many of them, there isn't. It's sort of a look at A View to a Kill. What can we get girls painted in neon fluorescent paints to do? Not necessarily stuff that's in the movie. Skyfall. Shitload of stuff happening underwater in the opening sequence. I don't know if it was that necessary. It didn't tie in very well with the rest of the movie going forward. And at what point are we in the movie here where we're going to have the villain revealed to us? Usually the villain is not a secretive thing. We're an hour 8 in. The villain's usually an open book, non-secretive, revealed from the get-go in a Bond film. I think it's interesting how this guy's playing in the shadows. No glib remark, no pithy comeback. I got scarred because you set the timer too early. And now I'm going to get my revenge on you, right? But you should have been actually shot, so let's not blame James for all of this here. I wonder if there is a statue graveyard like this. Stuff would be graffitied up. The screening process misplaced your parents, huh? Oh, so we're gonna... It's like some kind of weird reverse nepotism. Your parents can keep you out of a program. Live with the shame of it. Oh, yes. Pretty good prosthetic they've got on his face there. It's that subtle kind of burn victim, third-degree burn on the face. It's bubbled over. Ah, Two-Face, huh? Same year we have Two-Face as a villain in a Batman movie. Though I hadn't really thought about it or picked up on it much at the time, how out of control that was. Because we had like the Riddler with Jim Carrey, and he was acting that way. But then we had Two-Face not playing anything menacing or straight at all, just outlandish. He was really one face, outlandish. Now, if Tommy Lee Jones could have had a more subtle prosthetic instead of just being a purple man, maybe that would have changed the perception. Here is Bond meeting Natalia for the first time. That also took some time. Urgent survival instincts in her. We gotta wake this guy up, figure something out. Oh, look at that giant eject button next to his head. He tries to... He's going for the headbutt. No. Wrong direction. Actually, is it possible that he needs to get that going first before he can use this eject feature? Uh-oh. Where are those missiles going? Interesting self-destruct idea to get the helicopter to target itself. Uh-oh. Eject rams it kind of with the eye socket. Now you can see it's more of a temple forehead type thing. That looks pretty cool. Die Hard 2, Die Hard or Eat Your Heart Out. Parachutes, baby. One of the best inventions of all time, but don't take my word for it. Do. Almost looks like jellyfish out in the dark like that. Things we do for frequent flyer miles. Yeah, baby. I don't think we get that same style of quips out of Daniel Craig, do we? Would you guys be too upset if I had some beef jerky? Just gonna... This is Golden Island Korean barbecue pork strips. Here's the problem. This is a jerky. And I usually get Larissa's Kitchen meat snacks. They're not dehydrated. They're not dried out. They're not a jerky. Whereas this is. And I did this personal shopper thing at the grocery store where you get like... You can pick up your groceries. You just wheel in. They give you time to pick them up. We had $300 worth of groceries, and there were some substitutions made. I think they didn't do their diligence in finding the items on the shelf because Larissa's Kitchen stuff is almost always there. However, you get the substitution at the original price that you paid online in advance. This stuff being $2 more expensive doesn't taste $2 more expensive for you. You never been there? Well, your watch has. It's frozen. Same time as the GoldenEye blast. Detective skills. Defense Minister Minchkin, right? He must be exceedingly reasonable because he comes in here to talk to James Bond firsthand, not just somebody down the chain. And he believes him. He's like, that sounds okay. I'm going to look into that. Questions Ormov. Or maybe he was just looking for a reason to get rid of Ormov. Damn, she looks good. I can't find women that look like that. I know I'm in the Midwest, but you don't find celebrities that look like that. You don't find like occasional Instagram model from Russia or Italy, maybe. Immediately, how do you want to die? How do you want to be executed? Flips the script. Within a minute, this guy is ready to believe him. Can't you guys figure out that these people were set up? Why else would they be in the helicopter that blew up? They would put themselves in that situation to hide evidence. You don't find the killer in the house that he's burning down in this way. You know what I mean? Burn down your house to hide the evidence. Oh, but I'm going to need to be rescued from it. Second satellite. I think each GoldenEye satellite's only good for one blast. So you use one blast to try to cover up the evidence, hide your tracks, and use the other one to get even. And then the general here starts painting a scenario for CSI Moscow. Defense Minister Dmitry Mishkin murdered by British agent James Bond. Throws him the gun. It was his gun. Himself shot while trying to escape. This was a tough level of the game. This was the library or the stacks or something. You had to try to get out of here, and it gave you a very tight window to get that goal time. The big heavy doors. Sometimes they'd stop the bullets, sometimes they wouldn't. I think the Cougar Magnum, it could shoot through just about any door. So part of the game was in shutting doors on people and then opening them up and peeking around the corner. You had a lean mechanic with the C buttons. There's the library. Whoopsie daisy. The archive. Yeah, that's what they called it. Can we make a nice little escape to this car? Oh, clumsy girl. You had to go and knock a book down. Kicking in the Bond music. I think this is the first time hearing the classic James Bond track. I don't think that, no, this, I think classically it's just a guitar. Boom, 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 which was also the theme for the first James Bond movie, Dr. No. It always seems to make another appearance. Well, she fell through so conveniently, and they grabbed her. Me too, time's up. She got groped. A Batman-esque swinging style belt. I don't mind having a double there for Pierce Brosnan because a guy actually jumped out a window. And that's what's important. Boom! Hijacked that tank and got it up and running in no time. I'm going to peek his head out here while he somehow steer. I don't think tanks work that way, but boy is this scene awesome. Oh, hey, we got a little bit of a roadblock. Yep. Traffic. She's smiling. Look at the tank go. I think it tears the shit out of this road. And the beauty of it is, you know it's a real tank the whole time. I think we have a little bit of miniature right there. Some of these parts might be miniature, but man, that looks so good. Oh, it's time to get drunk. Yeah, we can see those guys driving their car. They're not moving. Kind of a stiff head. It never occurred to me that that was a miniature before. Like, that's how good this looks. Into the water you go. Okay, maybe he hit a gas tank. Fire. Use the bumper, that's what it's for. That line should have caught on. Oh, James, you didn't need to put the brakes on for him. You could have just kept going. I mean, you're basically driving like a mobile crushing machine for cars. Like a slow monster truck on tracks. What are the police gonna do? Nice crash, end over end flip. Yes, baby. Dun 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 dun. Tanks, I think, can get up to about 40 to 60 miles per hour. Some of them might actually be able to go 80. I could be mistaken on that. I'm not sure about the particulars of this. I think the Abrams tank currently in use with the U.S. Army is quite fast, and it runs on jet fuel. Damn, just that's so awesome how it just rolled over the car. And then we have a sort of a throwaway scene of a guy jumping out of it. He would have been dead for sure, but he rolled out of it so that James Bond's not murdering him. Got a burgundy Volvo getting out of the way. Perrier. I'm not quite sure if you'd call that product placement. It was a pretty quick little flash right there. Unearth the statue, and now the statue is riding atop the tank. It's fun. It's not there's nothing here that's unrealistic. Pierce Brosnan goes many a Bond film without much issue with that. And then Die Another Day starts with him surfing, and it looks bad. There's more windsurfing on ice later in the movie, and yeah, not a good look. Crashing down, awesome. We don't actually see it make contact with the cars, but it looks good. Boom, sweet. Thought I felt something. Never mind. Straighten tie and go. Weird looking train up ahead. Got a good look at that in the GoldenEye game. The train in the game, many a more henchmen on it than in the film. That's kind of a recurring theme with games based on movies. Shitload of henchmen. It's somewhat surprising how long Bond stays in that tank, because he's able to get down the tracks to try to derail this bizarre, sinister-looking locomotive. But yet well appointed, too. Look at that. What do you got, a chef aboard? Oh, how can you have any alcohol left in that flask? Doesn't he make some reference saying, did James have you too? Something like that. I think he says something to her. She looks mighty good. She has a hotness that's so downplayed throughout almost every scene of this movie. Like a homely, nerdy girl, but without the glasses and the tattoos and the purple hair. And the cosplay Instagram. It's a short train. Maybe there's something to this. Maybe the tank could derail this and stand a fighting chance. Mythbusters never quite looked into it. May even learn to like me. Oh man, she's not liking that. Are we supposed to get the impression that it's the face burn that is such the turnoff? Look at the excitement in Xenia. He's going to derail us. Oh, yeah, violence. Oh, boy, yeah. Let's ram him. Bye-bye. You know you're in the vehicle. Oh, evidently he had something in the barrel to fire. Jumps out. Kind of gets away faster than he could have. Look at how far that train goes. Bond must have teleported. It goes a ways past Bond to hit the tank he just jumped out of. Still a really damn good movie. Look at all the carnage we've experienced so far. Isn't that awesome? Groans, inhales sharply. Uh-oh. Why can't you just be a good boy and die? That kind of caught on. People were saying that. Some. Ormoff, bring her in. Lovely girl. Tastes like, they say, strawberries. That's it. I wouldn't know. I would. And she's licking her fingers. Drop the gun. I'll let her live. Takes out General Ormoff here a little quicker than one would have expected. In the game, you are faced with this similar dilemma where you have a ticking time. I think you have to try to shoot Ormoff and then the door shuts, but you have to try to cut through the floor with your wrist laser while she's on the computer. They did a damn good job trying to incorporate scenes from the movie. And they couldn't put the game out the same year as the film. It came out in 97. Well, yeah, quite a delay. By the time GoldenEye comes out, Tomorrow Never Dies is a thing. And Tomorrow Never Dies gets a game on the PlayStation. Oh, she's ordering him around. Yes, sir. And what do we got here? Helicopter. Plenty of helicopter action in this one. Set the timers to 6 minutes. The same 6 minutes you gave me. I like that callback. Ooh, not the whitest teeth on Sean Bean. Imagine roaming the Russian countryside in your private train with an escape helicopter. It's pretty much the coolest thing possible, isn't it? The laser watch. Apple Watch still does not have this feature. Arse, buns, rear. What else do you call your bottom? It's not the bottom. You're thinking wrong. You're thinking too sexual. Like I said. Why did he have to give you a clue to be boastful? And yes, guys, this is the internet in 95. You see how you're connecting. All these possible places he could be. Tracking it down. Pulling those boards out. Hey, you know what? She keyed in on it pretty well. Give her some credit. She wasn't just some damsel in distress just yelling, waiting to get out of there. I mean, she wants to get even. It's her revenge movie, yet no one ever paints this as her revenge movie. They will say that for... what was that? Was it 1980? Barbara Boucher, was that? Oh, what was that one with Roger Moore? I think it was 80 or 81. Oh, come on, come to me. I don't want to look it up. Oh, we got a little bit of downtime to get to know each other. Standard operating procedures I should be aware of, Commander. People don't call James Bond Commander anymore. It happened infrequently. In the films, it wasn't something that came up much. But all right, we're gonna have ourselves a makeout sesh. Not the spy who loved me. The theme song had the lyrics. Sort of an emerald green BMW Z3 here. I think at the time of this, it was could have been a 3-liter inline six. Oh, look at that! We've got a like a sat nav screen in there. This is the most action you get out of the BMW. So BMW, I sure hope you liked paying for that license. The official car of James Bond. He drives it on a dirt road and looks at a sat nav screen for all of 1 millisecond. I'm not here, you're not here, no, none of our involvement, all that stuff. Borrowed the plane from a friend DEA. Yeah, I can't quite get her name right, but I'm not too concerned about it. Did you check her out? Head to toe. Ooh, yeah, right. Giggity. Looking for a satellite dish the size of a football field. Gotta say things as American as possible. Get on the radio, I'll send the Marines. You think he's kidding? Cuba's 80 miles away. So where are they? Are they in Florida right now? In the Keys, maybe? He knows you're coming, James. Maybe that first year Z3 was a 4-cylinder only, or that came later. There were some differing engines. You could get an M. There was an M coupe that looked like a shoe. Oh yeah, we got the bikini top on. This is her moment to look sexy in the movie. Totally unnecessary scene. Not something we need. I swear, girls don't wear bikini bottoms that have that shape anymore. That sort of that V shape. That now it's totally flat across. He was your friend. Now he's your enemy. You will kill him. It's that simple. The Russian philosophy. With your guns, your killing, your death. For what? You want to act like... what was the girl's name? Molotov cocktail moped? Vesper. Yeah. You want to act like Vesper Lind is the top Bond girl, the most dynamic one, because she cried in a shower. Natalia got you. And we're in the sheets. Hairy chest. Laser watch on. Hell, I wonder if that plane could have gone straight to Cuba and we could have just forgot about the smoochy scene here altogether. Not a lot of gals show up here that Bond doesn't bed, though. In oh shoot, what was that 2009 one everybody hated? Olga Kurylenko, the burn victim on the back, doesn't touch her. It was an exceedingly expensive movie too. I think it had a $200 million budget. It was like one of the first movies I reviewed on YouTube. I'm trying to remember what it was. Christ. I'm not doing good with my Bond intel today, am I? Yeah, I know it's a composite. Composites look just as bad now for different reasons. Well, can't find the satellite dish because it's under the water. Super convoluted scheme here. You put the satellite under the water. I mean, come on. I don't think you could engineer this on any reasonable budget. Like, and the time it would take, just everything about this rocket. It's a water to air missile. Now this is an odd scene coming up here because the plane goes down and then we have a sort of knocked out cut to black fade in type thing going. It's not very Bond like. If you don't get out of there, you're in trouble. She may very well be dead at this point. If you don't see any more of her, you're assuming she died in the crash. Pulled her out. Now, what got to him? Concussion? Smoke inhalation? Is she dead? You know, these are things you got to wonder when you're watching. She's actually all in. He didn't say, no, you're staying home in the bikini. All right, so it's not a fade to black, but like we're fading out. Some time has passed. Who's that in the helicopter? Somebody come to rescue us? Throwing a rope down. Maybe they're coming to help. And kick. Kind of a Mortal Kombat like kick she puts on him. Killing Xenia in the game was a big challenge for a lot of people. They had to pick up like what is it, AR-15s or 75? It was AR something. There's a big assault rifle, and you could hold two of them at once, and you had to try to gun her down as she was crossing the bridge because she couldn't. She needed like a line of sight on you, and if you stood off to the side of the bridge, she would have to run to the end of it before she could hit you. Wait your turn. Conk on the head. That is some tough broad right there. This is a really cool way to take her out. Shoot the helicopter. The helicopter's going down, pulls the cord on her. Doesn't cut it with the blades, but I'm wondering if she died or not. Is there enough force there? I wouldn't rule it out. I'd say it's entirely possible. Internal bleeding. She always did enjoy a good squeeze. Indeed, she did. This room here, quite well recreated in the game, shockingly. This will be one of the few times you can watch a movie and keep thinking about the game. GoldenEye 007 may very well be more known than the movie it's based on. Very rare circumstance. And now we're going to drain the lake. There's a lot going on here with miniatures, and it's pretty impressive stuff. Whenever you're shooting miniatures like this, you have to shoot at a higher frame rate to try to create a slow motion effect, and the water will, for better or worse, comply. I mean, that's quite a bubbling wave right there. It's hard to say if it would actually look that way. We all know water drops can only be so big, so it kind of can create a problem where it throws off the illusion. You might could actually today have a better go at this with CGI water. If anything, it doesn't look cheap. Oh, another satellite. And I think they are shooting that in reverse, or, well, playing it back in reverse, and that's how you're ending up with this water shooting up weirdly. Yeah, we emptied that dish pretty quick, all things considering. I believe this satellite would be reused 2 years later in Contact with Jodie Foster. I'm not sure what its purpose or use today is. Slip and slide, baby. Oh boy, yeah, you want to grab that edge. Tenant in position. None of our security cameras show anybody sliding down the dish. How you like that display, guys? That grid. CCCP. This is Cold War Russia tech. I could kind of see the emergency escape being written in, I'm assuming, Spanish. Must have hired on a lot of local talent, you know, for his henchmen. Oh, James, you couldn't have brought a bigger gun. You knew what you were going up against. Did the back of the plane have all your munitions? Ah, yes, the proximity mines. I think these might actually be timed mines, but there were mines in the game, It looked kind of like that. Yeah, these are timed. Oh, it used to be so much fun. You throw a proximity mine on the wall, your buddy walks by it, can't see the thing, blows up. Impeccable interior layout for your lair, dude. Like, this is not a straight workman station. This is boastful. We're going to be using this operation for a long time. I want to make sure it's a nice, quality living quarters, right? Offices always look so much better in the movies than they do in real life. Like, you got like a 911 dispatch and they're not flooded with fluorescent lights. Like, come on. Emptied my pockets. I got a pin here. Sean, you got to know that there's something up with that pin. New model. Still press here, do I? I think this is the introduction of Bond using the Omega watches. He had been with Rolex, and has he gone back to Rolex? Not sure. Here's the thing. Do Rolexes get cheap? Like, I think if you buy a Rolex, it goes up in value. Like, doesn't that seem to be the case? I mean, hell, you might even strike it lucky and get one that goes up to $100 million or some garbage. Or how much? So, over $1 million for no apparent reason. Because, what, Paul Newman had one like it kind of scenario? What I'm saying is you might want to invest in Rolex watches. Look at her. She's fighting off the guards. Snaps back real quick to hit that enter. This is the best Bond girl, period. And the most underappreciated and the best. United Kingdom re-enters the Stone Age. Worldwide financial meltdown. And also Mad Little Alec can sell the score 50 years ago. Oh, please, James. Vodka martinis. For a while, I thought it was a Vulcan martini. I thought that's what he was saying. I think that might actually be a thing. Learn the cost of betrayal. Inflation adjusted for 1945. Boris, oh man, I like how she digs into him here. Schlapp, jumps on him, is ready with the right hand. Yeah, Isabella rocks. He's picked up Bond's pin, and we're not sure how many times he's going to nervously click at it, and at what point are we keeping track? Was it you hit it 3 times arm, 2 times stop? I think he hit twice and then once, and that must have disarmed. She's a second level programmer. She works on the guidance system. She doesn't have access. Code's firing. Uh-oh. And I think what she does is she just sets the satellite to go too close to the Earth so it burns up. Click, click is at 3. Click 1. Bond's trying to keep track. Re-entry in 12 minutes. Yes, she did change them. Then she can fix it. Huh. He said something similar to her. I can break her codes. She didn't give you a clue like you did. You sit on it, give him a clue. Come on, give him a chance. It is nice how they don't need that to go down because we got the explosive pin here. The Chekhov's gun in the pin, ready and waiting. Has she been briefed on the pin? I'm thinking no. They're kind of thinking, why did he swat that pin? Got a little lucky it landed in that super explosive stuff. Oh, all these poor second level programmers. Baker codes? Possibly. Possibly. Okay, so if he breaks her codes, that's why they need to destroy the translator, because it kind of looks like their operation's over. Like they could just leave. It looks to me like their job here is done. Look at the pouches on that guy. Man, he is armed. Like Rob Liefeld made his belt. She cocks the gun. She's ready to go. Man, yeah. Vesper Lynn didn't do shit. Other than scream a lot and overreact and cry. Oh no, somebody died and I saw it. I'm going to cry in the shower. Or I think I helped kill a guy. Gun out. All right. Evidently, this local talent knows English. And this stuff looks dangerous as all shit. I can see any number of ways stunts could go horribly wrong up ahead. I don't think we get a crack at what he's entering to try to break these codes. And then we got this dive. He will like dive rolling down a staircase on here. That's just death everywhere. Here's that staircase roll. Look at, nope, I'm not doing that. And we get a very brutal fight here. It's not the suave Jackie Chan, you do a move, pause, react kind of thing. This looks like real fisticuff action here with objects and stuff. And the way the scene's shot, it's handheld, you'll see here. It will remind you of a Daniel Craig fight, of, say, Casino Royale. We got all this gear stuff going. You'd almost think someone got caught in the gear. Antenna malfunction. Well, if her changing the access codes, what good is the antenna anyways? Like, do you need to do this? Ah, trail of blood. You know, not a whole lot of places to hide around here. This level, I think you had to set charges and you had to deal with Alec. And you end up kind of taking him out in a similar position to where he goes in the game. Well, in the movie. God, see the way people talk about GoldenEye 007? Boom. Not a stunt double. Not stunt doubles. Oh, yeah, working on my defenses here, but he knows my moves too. We're going to get out the chains. Yeah, you best be ducking that shot. Oh, I like the light leak in from the window. That looks nice. From the slits. I was always better than you. Misses a shot at point blank range. Ooh. Yeah, good thing you want to composite shot that. Man, she got away. Way. Alpha 1 to gunship. And I think she thwarts this too. I would not go down there and try to fight this guy. Are you out of bullets? You can't just shoot down? I mean, there's got to be a way to leave him there. Oh yeah, that's death for sure. Like the ability to roll and then grab that last rung of the ladder. That's a move. Ah, yes, the old foot on fingers. Hey, I don't mind it. It's, face obscured, not Pierce Brosnan, but somebody's doing something. It's not a CGI costume. There's your gunship. But who's aboard? Oh, she got the gun drawn. Yeah. It's like that gave Bond some inspiration. Come on, why catch him? So you can say something? Wouldn't you be concerned that holding on to him would pull you off? I always felt that way. It's like, give me your hand. It's like, oh, no, you'll pull me down. For me. This is a pretty good looking fall. Maybe the best fall of that way is probably Die Hard. If you land flat on your back, that's actually the advised way to fall from great heights into stuff. I read some book about escaping some situations. Like, Bear does this where someone is shooting up your apartment building, jump out into the garbage can below. It's things like that, right? This is the escape Bond gets in the game. He jumps. I would not. Look, I'm a god of pull-ups, and I would not trust myself to make that jump. Anyhow, you land flat on your back, and that gives you the most resistance to the air falling down and distributes the force across your body. There's a shot he survived it, and then didn't survive the rest of the shit. So he gets like extra killed. Now Boris, he does this. Yes, I'm invincible. Because look all the mayhem around him. One would think you are invincible. Oh, not so much. We got all that coolant from our computers. Frozen. Not that I would try it, but what if you thawed out? What does that look like? Can someone be revived from that scenario? All right, you drop us off. I'll let you get away. You'll be the sole survivor in the helicopter. It's that simple. Another little makeout sesh. Giggity. And yeah, the Marines do come a calling. Suppose someone is watching. It's no one within 25 miles, believe me. Everybody's in a ghillie suit. You call him Jimbo? Yo, Jimbo. It's tobacco plants. I said I'd be here. Yeah, we didn't hear those helicopters. One of the noisiest things available, where you just slide them into frame and now all of a sudden they make sound. A mention of Guantanamo before it becomes infamous. Oh, she wants to give it a rest with the moving vehicles. So there you have it, guys. GoldenEye from 1995. I would say this is the second best James Bond film behind Goldfinger. I give Goldfinger a lot of edge for introducing a lot of cool aspects and really being a time where Sean Connery shines. But this is better than Casino Royale. It's better than anything Daniel Craig's done, for sure. And people are acting like it doesn't exist. Why do people not constantly talk about GoldenEye? I don't understand. Yeah, you'll talk about the game. Thank heaven there's also no post-trailer credit Marvel MCU nonsense to have to sit through. And that's that. So, yeah, till next time, adios.